Hey guys, welcome to Ryan's Range Report. Today we're going to take a look at some tools from Borka. These are torque tools, torque wrenches, torque drivers, whatever you want to call them. And this is a new custom set that he's came out with that you can order for your individual needs. So I will show you the ones that I have on my rifle, but just keep in mind that you can order these however you want. Right now you can already order the 65-inch PTL, which is this one here. This is a PTL 65. The PTL 65 came in a couple of kits, and it was a really good tool for torquing your action screws and for torquing your scope screws. I was in talks with Boris about some different things that he was doing and just going over some of the positives about his tools, and I told him how much I like this, the PTL. I said, you know what I would really like is if I had one for my scope rings, and I had one that matched my mini chassis and one that worked for the screws that hold the caps onto my scope rings. And he told me that he was also thinking of doing something similar to that, and he sent me this to take a look at. Now this isn't the final product, but this is something that he sent out so I could overview it. For me, I still use the 65-inch, and then for 45-inch pounds I use for the rear tang on my mini chassis. I also have spur mounts, and for those on the rifle it's not 65-inch pounds, it's 45. I usually like to torque my rings down to 25-inch pounds. Manufacturers usually somewhere between 10 and 30. I find 25 to work best for me. I'm not sure if this is going to be the final ratchet, but this is the ratchet that comes with it. So all you do is you attach this on here, and you screw your product in, whatever it is, till you get to your torque setting and it'll click. I'll show you that here in just a second. I just wanted to show you how it attaches. And then you can flip. Right here there's a little switch to reverse which way you're going. Also, you don't always need your torque limiter, so if you just want to screw something in really quick, you can attach it here on the back side, and it's a nice little ratchet or screwdriver. Now this isn't a kit that's as universal as, say, the MG tool, but it's a very precise tool, and it's something that you can keep with you at all times with your rifle. The idea is to use the torque tools for rifle assembly, then zero the rifle, and if necessary take the rifle apart for maintenance and assemble it back with the same torque tools so it stays zeroed. Of course, also it's to prevent damage to your rings by over tightening. There's a thread on tacticalmatches.com right now in the new optics section where Scott Parks of Vortex is going over a lot of the issues of why scopes come back, or the type of problems they see when scopes come back, what was causing those issues. And it seems to him, what he says, what they see the most of is improper mounting, over torquing. So generally, what will happen when a rear scope ring is too tight or stressing the rear mounting portion of the scope tube, it can distort the erector tube gimbal, a ball socket type joint generally located under the mag ring, which will bind up the erector tube enough to the point that the erector spring will no longer be strong enough to keep the erector tied up against the turrets. And even worse, it will not let the erector tube move freely, causing erratic adjustments that can cause a wandering zero. The other problem an overstressed scope tube can cause has to do with the front mounting surface of the scope. Stressing the forward mounting portion of a scope tube can interfere with the parallax cell on the side of parallax equipped rifles. This is not nearly as common and can be easily identified and remedied over the phone with a competent scope tech. The symptoms of this occurrence will nearly make it impossible to eliminate parallax error, and most scopes will not allow for a crisp, sharp image. Scott at Vortex also says, generally I recommend torquing rings 15 to 20 inch pounds. I can tell you that I've tested everything from extremely light, non-braked Magnum hunting rifles to 50 BMGs, and with the scope rings torqued to 15 inch pounds with no problems whatsoever. The key is having a good quality mounting system that gives you maximum scope to ring contact surface. So that alone means that you should at least have something to really get your rings on there solid and not be over tightening them. Having a precise tool like the PTL will give you that precise torque each time that you go back and use it on the rifle. Another thing that's really important to a lot of people, including myself, is returning to zero. Now there's not too often where I'm taking things on and off the rifle, but if they do, I need to know that I'm not going to have to make a ton of adjustments. So what I did is right now I only have one scope that I'm switching between my trainer and my match rifle. So I was taking it out to the range, and I thought I would take the tools and the camera with me and switch the scope back and forth and see how the zero holds. Here are my results from the range. Before we go out to the range, I want to remind you These are just how I ordered mine, 65, 45, 25. You can order them however you want. If you have a FN Scar, you can order a 62 inch pound. If you have an AICS, I think they require a lot more inch pounds. You can order them like that. You can order it in whatever specific way that you need for your rifle, or whatever kit you want. This is great. I keep this in my bag at all times, but it's also great if you're a gunsmith, or if you do a lot of your own work at home. I also keep a set here on my bench. Hey guys, welcome to Ryan's Range Report. So today I'm out at the range and I have my 223 trainer with me, and right now I only have one scope. So I took the Leopold Mark 6 that we did a review on, and I stuck it on here and got it zeroed. I had to come up 1.8 mils from my zero on my 6.5 Creedmoor. And what we're going to do today is we're going to take it off, and we're going to stick it back on the Creedmoor, and I'm going to use a new toolkit I got from Borka, and we're going to give it the same torque values and see if it can retain zero. Alright, so now we have it back on this rifle, back down to the zero that I had this rifle set at before, and we're going to hook the other camera up to the Swarovski spotting scope that we're doing a review on and try and catch the shots downrange. You'll see a couple shots that we put through the 223. That was just some basic 55 grain stuff, but it still looks like it shoots pretty well. The sun is shining directly in my face here, so I'm going to use this shemagh as a cover for the sun. So just what I can see through here, it looks like my impact's a little bit left. That could be my position. I'm not really in the greatest spot up here. I definitely got a little popped by the trigger at first. That one's 3.5 pounds. This is 1.5 pounds. I should have done a little dry fire on this first, but it still looks like it's pretty good. I mean, I could probably come 1/10 right, and it'll be perfect. So now I'm back on the 223, and I'm actually just going to shoot at the same target that I shot before when I had the scope on here. And so I'm not expecting exceptional accuracy. We're just shooting 55 grain full metal jackets out of here. Definitely not precision ammo, but it's just all I had on hand as far as 223 goes. So let me get the camera rolling on the target and we'll check it out. Alright, let's take a look. So we did have a couple that were out of the group, and that could have been me, and it could have just been this ammo. I'm sure the consistency isn't, sub MOA. But if you look there, I mean, I have a nice little return to zero area. I mean, just that nice little hole that was stripping right to left. And again, like I said, I'm kind of on an unstable bench with light straight in my face. It's not the best conditions to do this testing, but I'm going to switch it back over to the 6.5 Creedmoor and see if I can get that same impact from before. Like I said, it looks like overall my impact was just a little left from the last time I had it on the gun. So we'll see if it'll stay that little left, and if it does, then we'll just adjust it right and it'll be set. So from the looks at it here, I'm going to look at this spotter here in just a second, but it looks to me like they went in the same holes as when I had the scope off a second ago. So that shift might have been something else. It might have been something that I had already done. So let's take a look at it through the spotter, and we'll see how well this thing returned to zero. I came down here to the target. We'll have the pictures through the spotter, but I grabbed another 3 before I made that 10th adjustment, and I just wanted to make sure that the impact wasn't shifting. I feel like that you do get that return to 0, but it just needs a couple of shots just to settle in. So let's just take a look here. So there's our 6.5 Creedmoor. You know, that's not my best grouping, but that's on and off the scope. And there's the 223 using just basic 55 grain junk ammo. And then I just went ahead and took another 3 and slapped those up there, and that's, you know, without adjusting anything on the scope. I'm going to see if I can come over 1/10, maybe that'll line it up. Hopefully it doesn't just push it to the other side, which is normal.